Three, two, one. I was talking to a friend of mine recently about this anime called Neon Genesis Evangelion, which I thought was apparently about humans fighting robots, but he went on about the lore that backed up the show, and he covered a lot of topics. But one really interesting thing that I discovered was what he called primordial soup, LCL. Now, after some digging, I found out that the show didn't actually refer to this as primordial soup. It was called the Human Instrumentality Project, the part where everyone turns into Fanta. The reason I brought this up, this primordial soup, or Human Instrumentality Project, is because it talks about individuality. As humans, we have grown to realize that we are bound to be alone, that our feelings are forever going to be remain unsaid by us and unfelt by others, that human communication can only go so far. We have been told that we are individuals separate from others and disconnected from the world, that we are forever stuck inside our skin. The Human Instrumentality Project is something that can allegedly remove this barrier. It has the ability to merge all the souls together such that we only have consciousness, one consciousness, so that every feeling is felt and everything is communicated without saying, such that we are not different at all but all the same. So we won't feel alone anymore. Evangelion was authored by Hideaki Anno. The man had suffered tremendous amounts of depression and existentialism, which played a huge role in shaping the narrative. During the process of creating this masterpiece, he was grappled with thoughts of nihilism and despair, but he had a skill of channeling that through his art, creating complex characters that struggled with their own identities, the protagonist being Shinji Ikari. What my friend said was, his thing is that he feels like no one understands him. He just wants someone to get close to him. It came down to one question: soup or no soup? To be or not to be? What would be better? I immediately rejected the idea of soup. In my mind, I didn't feel disconnected or alone. I was testing how I felt in relation to the world. My logic in the beginning was that I didn't need to communicate anything extra. I could say what I felt with people I felt comfortable with. I could be vulnerable. Then I realized that I could only say things that I felt. The only way to express my feelings was through language. The inherent feelings, emotions, or manifestations themselves couldn't be communicated in any way or form. It's like trying to describe the color red to a blind person. Language is a barrier. This is where abstraction comes into place. When you can't explain what you feel, you create. You create what makes you feel. You give time and effort in making something that could perhaps make you feel whole. This friend talked about the hedgehog's dilemma. When hedgehogs get close to stay warm during the winter, they end up hurting each other because of the sharp spines. This is the metaphor that explains how you can't get close to a person without hurting them and yourself in the process. These themes are significantly explored throughout Evangelion. The simple, or rather the only solution or answer I could come up with is that there is no answer. Soup or no soup is not a choice, because you see, we already live in a soup. From when we are born, we are told that we are different, disconnected from the world around us, that we are somehow the product of everything that has come before us. What we fail to realize is that that is just the way language portrays the world. You're not the product, you are the world. You are the Big Bang. You consist of the matter that started the universe. You're not different from any other matter that makes up the world, related to the earth, the way the cells are related to you. Alan Watt states in his books that ego is a social construct, that it doesn't exist outside of them. What's outside?
Wait, what is this? This is me. This is the shape that lets others recognize me as myself. It is my symbol for myself. This is, and this is as well. Representations. Everything is merely a description, not the real myself. Everything is simply a shape, a form, an identifier to let others recognize me as me.
Inside cannot exist without outside. But we have been inside for so long, so long, that we forgot that an outside exists. The social culture, the people, the norms, the mannerisms, the language, that's all that is inside. That is the act, that is the game. What we seem to deliberately forget is that there is an outside. And outside the game, the act, there is no need for an ego. That you're the world itself. And in its whole, the world is you. That there is no you. It is quite difficult to find it. What would you define as your ego? You see, the moment you try to find it, the moment you search inside yourself, deep down, that you keep visualizing and thinking and contemplating, you know that there is no ego. That you have made it up to be, to belong, and to play the part in the act. You're no different from the ground you stand on, and without the ground there is no you, vice versa. Without individuality, there is no soup. And when you remove individuality from yourself, when you perceive that the world is one, that the ego is a character you've made, that the biggest question you've asked has no answer, there is no need for the soup. Anyway, so I wrote something. Here goes. Who are you? Because look around yourself and you look at yourself. From the moment of conception to the movement of trees that sway down into the lake and leaves that stand upright, is the black stars you blame ones you might never see. Without forever, never would never be. Perception is an illusion, for you're blind to the perforation in the leaves. Perfect trip up your sleeves. And so when you ask, where is God? God is lost. Anyway, all of this that I've written, which actually I have written this, by the way, this is not unscripted. I read this from my laptop screen. All of this is just opinion, right? None of this is fact. This is because opinion is more interesting than fact, I think, right? Because what fact tells you, or what science tells you, is that the world is this place that doesn't make any sense, that it has no meaning, right? That nihilism is the answer. At least that's what you get to once you start studying science. And then you realize that, wait, there is no reason. That all of this, the world around us, that it just is. And nothing matters. That's what science gets at, kind of. But since nothing matters, you can make up your own philosophies, your own understanding of the world, and it sets you free to believe in whatever you want as long as it helps you. This dives more into faith, which I might talk about later. But yeah, that's the video. If you don't agree with me, or if you feel like there's only one God and it's Jesus, or if you feel like science is right and nothing makes sense and nothing has to make sense, you can talk to me. We can have a conversation. I would love to have a conversation where you disagree with me or you agree with me. It doesn't matter. Just hit me up. The links will be in the description. And bye bye. How do you stop this?
でとう。
めでたいな。おめでとうさん。おめでとう。おめでとう。
おめでとう。
おめでとう。
おめでとう。